Welcome everybody, Mr. Steve here. I'm using Blender 4.3.2. It's 2025 February. This is an update for LM Studio, which is now going to be called LM Studio Gobo Creator 3. That's what this is. It's an add-on that I developed 2 years ago actually. And if you go into the edit preferences, you'll see a couple things like the Alt-C and Alt-X menu. These have not changed. These are shortcuts for lighting and camera controls. So let's go ahead and develop a scene here. In fact, I don't have to do hardly anything because I made this very easy. So I'll just drop in the Umbrella Studio and boom, we've got a scene. Very cool. If you don't like that, you could try a different one. I've got a infinite lighting background. It doesn't mean it's infinite lighting. It just means that when you go to put the camera here, you know, you've got a cleaner background, doesn't show lines and things like that. I prefer this one. You can check out the other ones. I like the Umbrella Studio, and I got the best response for this one, so I've just decided to leave it in. Now, this is a Gobo creating light control add-on, which has been streamlined to make it super, super easy for you to use. So if you come in as a complete beginner, all you have to do is in a scene, with hopefully your cursor at 3D origin or world, which is this little guy right here. You want this over here. Shift S will bring it over. And we can do that thing. There we go. Then you click Create Gobo Shader. Now you might want to move this back a little bit because I have no idea where your scene is going to be. And I'll just rotate this up on the X. And we don't see anything yet, but just be over in cycles. Be on GPU compute if you can. If you don't have it, this add-on has been modernized for Blender 4 and up so that the icon gallery is incredibly fast. It's 10 times faster now. So we'll do the custom look here in just a minute. We're going to go to the basic stuff, trees, and you can see this is it's loading pretty nice. And you can flip through all these without having any lag. Hardly at all. Now Alt-X will bring up the light intensity, and at some point when I can dig deep enough into the Blender API and find just the Z value and set it, which is being something extra fun, then it comes in upside down. No big deal. You can just 180 that. Maybe your scene's calling for it, whatever. Now for this setup here, I can just switch through these gobos now and get all kinds of different looks. This light can go in through a window, and under the the IS Studio, the IES Lighting Studio, which is a demo file that goes with my IES add-on, but I put it in here so you can have window light, and we'll look at that real quick when we're done here. But so as far as this, you could just go through and start selecting things. We have animated gobos. And I don't have icons showing for those because they're MP4s, but you could just scrub through. It's the exact same trees that are in here. So it's all these trees right here. It's the exact same thing, but they're animated. So there's not that much of a difference. So I've got those, and you just press play. And this will animate the tree. The leaves will shake and stuff. I know it's incredibly difficult to see that right here. Maybe I can find one that moves a little bit better. And we'll go with something like 30 frames because you don't need that many frames for an Gobo animation. And if you had to, you could individually code this in so you don't have to try to have your scene only have 30 frames, which would be wild. And there you go. You can see it moving in the background a little bit, but you have to render it. I'll do some renders and have them on the Blender Market page so you guys can see the animated gobos. Now, once you've done all that, you've checked it out, you like it, you see, hey, I got abstract stuff, I've got leaves, all kinds of things. There's a couple of cool features in here. You can square this up. If you have a square image, and if you have a circular image, you can do this deal, which is very cool. Now, let's go look at a square image real quick. And that square image doesn't necessarily come in perfect. It is perfect by standards as far as the mapping nodes go, which I have preset for you. But if you do hit square, you will get the perfect square image. You won't have warping on the sides or anything like that. So it's going to come in just the way it should. You can change this. This is supposed to be a spotlight, but you can change it to point. There are some codes that are in some add-ons that will use the area and all these, but just keeping it super simple here. We're using a spotlight. Boom. Now also we can add fog to this scene with one click. This little plus sign right here. We literally just added fog. Now let's make sure we have our light selected. And where is spot? There we go. So I've got my spotlight selected, and I must find what is actually blocking my light here. Let me hide the fog. Okay, so that's a little bit better. So with this deal, I'll unhide that with Alt-H, and now we've got our rays. And something I find super cool about this is the image texture node that is working behind the scenes here. If we go to the shader editor, this node group is being created for you. This node is projecting through an emission node for a light output. It is actually, the light is cutting through the image. Okay, so that's why you get the God rays, and that's really, really cool. I've always loved how that works. You get the same thing here, and so on. So whatever you choose. Now I'm going to go over to the custom folder, because I just went ahead and loaded a directory, if you will. So I've got a folder full of JPEGs, PNGs, whatever. You could probably say make them all JPEGs or all PNGs, would obviously be smart. Just click accept, and now you will see a preview image of whatever you have in there, and you will be able to project all of those out. Now, if for some reason something comes in, it's not necessarily to your liking, you can change the scale right here. You can change how everything looks, give it like a projector look, whatever you want to do. And like I said, you've got your rotation here, and then you've got a location, which will kind of make that go back and forth a little bit. You could actually do something cool with that and put in some keyframes or something to go back and forth and make it look like a searchlight with some words on it. Super cool. You can change the fog color here as well. So if you don't like that particular color, then you can change it. And so if you have a camera in the scene, here's your other thing. I'm going to hit Control-Alt-0. If I hit Alt-X with the spotlight selected, we know we can bring up or down the intensity. Now, if we have a camera selected, we can hit Alt-C for the camera and change the focal length with the mouse. Just moving it back and forth. You can hold Shift to slow it down. You can right-click to abandon, or you can hit Alt-C and then left-click to keep that setting that you just got. So there's some extra controls that I think will be very helpful for you. Now down here in the load custom gobos, you'll have an exposure setting where you can change the global illumination a bit. Also, we can come in here and we can find a .png. I got something untitled. Let's see what that is. And it might be the exact same. Let's see here. I'm stuck on custom. It shouldn't matter. This should just load anything. So I'll go to downloads.jpg, and I think that'll be fine. And that would be my error because I did not have the light selected. So I have to go back in downloads, and let's just grab .jpg. Always leave the mistakes in. I think everybody benefits from that. And there we go. So it loaded whatever image that I have there. It's really hard to tell what it was. Let's do a thing here, and let's find a picture of me. Oh my gosh. These are some old pictures of me. You don't necessarily want to see all that. Here's a JPEG with the Blender bash on there. This is going to need a square setting, more than likely. And I was unfortunately playing around with the resolution over here, so I don't really remember what I had, which was perfect. But if you do run into a situation, you're like, I can't get this resolution right, it really doesn't matter. Just delete that, grab another light. Let's get out of that blurry image view. Let's move that rotate it back. And this is worst case scenario, like it just took a couple seconds, right? So not a big deal. And we'll go back in. I'll go right here and I'll hit enter. Alt X, bring up the intensity once again and click square. And there we go. 180, and it's back the way it was. Or rather, it's how it should be. So that's cool. And I'll let you guys decide what you think looks best, whether it be circular or square. And of course, like I said, you can play around with the scales to get stuff just perfect. Kind of alleviates the, the options like trying to have a huge list of presets, which is unrealistic. So now down here in the show lights or meshes, it's another part of the add-on, which is just a very basic thing. You can change light colors and things like that here if you wish. And this will help put like a purple tint through the light, but it doesn't change this. If you wanted to change that, there's actually another option. So you can change the angle and degree and how this looks. So you just have some basic light controls. You can show it or not in the render or not. Then you can switch to mesh objects and have some random controls for mesh objects. I know that's a cluttered spot, but it is what it is. Now, for this light, we can actually change the black body intensity node directly in the add-on. I kind of saved this for last because this is one of my favorite things to be able to do. So now, up here, you'll have a drop down, and it's going to say the actual black body intensity, which you currently have. It's going to have a list. Hey, I want this to look like candlelight. And it's going to change that node automatically. Then you can scrub all the way to the left. It'll stop at 1500. Then it'll go candlelight, firelight, 60-watt bulb, fluorescent, LED lights. And notice this is still changing. Cloudy sky. And you can keep going over, and it's a clear noonday sky. That's what that says. It's kind of hard to read in there. I may shrink these buttons down a little bit, but minor housekeeping stuff later on with the add-on. But this is pretty cool. I think it's a good, strong add-on for you guys to get in there, especially for beginner and intermediates. And if you have the need for animated gobos, I mean, it's just so simple. So simple. And then you've got the Gobo fog. So let's Alt-H, bring that back. Don't forget you've got the fog button. And if you don't want the fog, just click off over here in the gray area, if you will, and hit delete. Or find cube, because that's what it is. So if I grab my light and click this, it's just going to say cube. I may change that name too, but that'll be a housekeeping in the next version. And there you go. So now let's look at this other lighting studio that I mentioned in the beginning. This is the IS Studio, and if you just click that, it's just going to pop right in. And so I've got this camera right here. You may have to go up here to View, Camera, Set Active Object as Camera. And now you've got this setting, because if you have other cameras, this one's not coming in as the active. Or if you've had it that way. So let's go ahead and click here. This is going to come in with some lighting already. You can kind of play around with the settings here. This particular light does have a black body on it somewhere. There we go. So now you can play around with this, because I put the black body on this one just so you guys can get used to using the Gobo Creator intensity chart up here. And you can scrub through and change how the daylight looks. And these are photometrically accurate at a pretty high level. So don't take just the add-on's word for it. If you find that you come in here and 5200 is going to give you like high power LED light looks, then that's what it's going to be, right? Because there's a bunch of different charts on there, and you may be trying to achieve a certain look, and this will help you do that. So there you go. That is just about the entirety of that add-on. Don't forget that your Alt-X button will change intensities of selected lights only, and Alt-C will change the focal length of cameras. And if I hit Alt and delete, let's go back out to the main add-on, and I try to like click stuff, it's not going to error out. I actually put a specific error. I made this error. So let's select the Gobo light. Boom. If you come over here, boom, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to give you any errors. I've done a lot of cleanup work on this. If you guys do find an error, just report it to me on Blender Market. And then what I'm going to try to do is get everybody into my Discord, because I've got a lot of add-ons and I've got quite a few people that have picked up the add-ons, and I want you guys to have support. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, go pick this up on Blender Market and give it a 5-star rating for me. I appreciate you guys.